how to create a logo that is not pixelated, a logo that will never look blurry or pixelated, because I think essentially we don't want a blurry pixelated logo, do we? No, it looks unprofessional. It just makes your company look poor. So how are we going to do that then? Well, a logo should not be created as a raster file, and a raster file would be a JPEG or PNG file, because essentially these raster files are made from pixels, and these pixels are little tiny squares of color. Now, if you start with an image that's made up of these little tiny pixels, that's brilliant. If you start with a huge image that it looks really crisp and lovely, that's fine. But as soon as you go larger than that file, your image can't add more details in. It will only ever have that amount of pixels. So as it gets bigger, the image struggles because it hasn't got any more information to draw on. So it just starts blurring and pixelating. If you were to get around this, to make your image really big, it would have to be at what we call 300 ppi, so 300 pixels per inch, as opposed to a web resolution, which is generally 72 ppi. The 300 ppi we use in print, and the 72 ppi we use in web. Or, to get around this further, the ideal solution for you creating your logo is to create it as a vector file. And a vector file is generally a .eps file or a .svg file. And vector files are perfect for logos because they're recorded as dots and straight lines, so straight lines or curves. And with a vector file, it would just recalculate every time you make it bigger and bigger. So you could stretch your logo to the size of a house and it would still be absolutely crisp and sharp. And that's what we want for our logos, isn't it? And the other thing is that you can create a raster file from a vector file. So you can take your EPS file and you can convert it into a JPEG, and you can convert it into a PNG, or you can convert it into a PDF, or essentially pretty much anything you can convert a vector file into, but you cannot convert a raster file. So you can't convert your JPEG, PNG, or sometimes your PDF into a vector file. It just won't work. You'd have to remake the image as a vector, ask somebody like me to do that for you. So you can't do that. So essentially what I'm telling you is, if you want a beautifully crisp and clear and clean logo, then it's got to be a vector. I hope that helps, and I shall see you next week.